Virginia Tech at Miami. This is my video best bet of the week. And I found out Marco actually disagrees with me. So what I'm going to do is let's do a little, crossfire back in the old days on CNN. I'm going to give you a point for Virginia Tech, which is going to be my best bet, and you can give me a point for Miami.
Go ahead.
All right. You've got this Virginia Tech team that simply is one of the best programs in the country. You're getting a premium program without the premium price because they're not as well known. You don't see a lot of Virginia Tech jerseys in Los Angeles or Vegas. But when you look at the numbers, they finished the year strong, 18-5 ATS, finishing the year in November. 25-9 on the road. You're trying to look at my numbers. 25-9 on the road. Think about that a second. The road is the biggest challenge in college football. Clearly, this is a road spot for them. They're 37-17 against winning teams. So what do you want from a team? You want them to finish strong. You want them to travel well. You want them to play their best against the best teams. And this is what you're getting in massive doses with Virginia Tech. And they're less marquee than Miami. And thus, to me, you're getting value and you're getting quality.
Okay. First off, this would support you, but I happen to disagree with it. The early line move in this game did come in hard on Virginia Tech. It moved from 1.5 to -2.5. Early money. I don't agree with it. My perception, and you hear me talk every week about where the team is, like a stock. They go up and down. I think right now, after last week's win by Virginia Tech, their stock is at the highest point it's been all season. And this team has battled uphill from the beginning of the season when they went 0-2 to start the season. They've done nothing wrong since, but they've been flying under the radar. They played a Thursday night game against Georgia Tech.
Which they didn't cover.
They didn't cover. So again, they were flying under the radar last week, went on the road to North Carolina. That was like their statement game. Now people are like, wow, we got to take this team serious. They went in there, beat up on North Carolina, and if you dig inside the numbers of that game, RJ, they were aided by 6 North Carolina turnovers in that game. Miami of Florida is not going to turn the ball over like that. North Carolina has athletes, but they don't have athletes the speed-wise that Miami of Florida has. And yes.
Now, are you really saying that Miami of Florida is going to run Virginia Tech off the field?
I'm not saying they're going to run off the field.
I understand the slow Big Ten team against Miami and the Florida teams, but this Virginia Tech team I'm hard pressed to think that speed's going to be the problem here.
What I'm comparing to is there's more talent on this Miami team than was on that North Carolina team.
Yeah, but Virginia Tech's won. They beat North Carolina. They beat like 8 other teams since they lost to James Madison. So why are we fixating on the North Carolina game?
Because to me, that's the game. It was on ABC or ESPN, one of the two, and people got to see them, and now they're off of the one game. They believe in Virginia Tech.
See, I'm so surprised because I would think Marco would say, I look at this and I'm thinking, if I was a Joe Blow that just read the USA Today to handicap, I would say, I get Miami of Florida and I'm getting points? Oh, that looks juicy. And then you would say, but no, because they're trying to induce you. The fact that Virginia Tech's laying points on the road would make you like Virginia Tech.
If Miami of Florida had their starting quarterback still in the lineup, that would be the case.
So we're taping on Wednesday. What's the status on him?
He's still listed as out. They're
out.
Yeah. Jackery Harris is not going to be a factor. They're playing, I think, better with the backup.
Well, see, I read that he might play this week, and again, that's the thing about injuries. We're going to handicap assuming we don't know, and at some point before game time, you're going to know. But I've read, at Scouts Inc., they're saying that, like you said, the new guy's playing just as well, and even if he is ready, the injured quarterback, that he may not even play.
Right. I handicap this game with the backup quarterback.
Right,
I like him better with him in there.
So if you like him better and everyone seems to say, wow, this kid's good, then why is it that the reason the line seems right is because of who the quarterback is?
Public perception is going to always look at the starting quarterback. I mean, that's just built in.
Okay. All right. Now, I also don't like Miami at home. 4-13 ATS versus winning teams at home. Virginia Tech has covered 4 straight in this series. Now, here's one thing I would say that leans a little towards Miami. Last year, Virginia Tech won 31-7. So you're thinking, oh my God, this a lot of the same players, a dominant performance. But it was actually in a downpour. So we're even going to a third level here where we're looking at last year's game. Not only are we digging into the box score, we're digging into the weather and saying that because of that downpour, it negated a lot of Miami's advantage, which is speed. That is one of their strong suits, even if it's not, let's say, relatively, they're not that much faster than Virginia Tech. So in a way, Miami might feel like this is our chance to get revenge because last year was deceiving. So that does slow me down just a little bit. And I've got one more point here, but you got anything to close before I do my final projection?
Miami is not locked out of the ACC championship. They can do it. 2 things have to happen. First, they have to beat Virginia Tech on Saturday, and then they have to have Virginia Tech lose their rivalry game against Virginia. And Miami can sneak in.
So you're saying Miami has max motivation, but so does Virginia Tech?
Absolutely, but we've got a home dog with max motivation.
All right, we've had one of the things about trends is oftentimes with coaching changes, you don't have a lot of continuity. Mm-hmm. We know Virginia Tech's had their coach for quite a while. How many times do you think since 2003, so unless I'm mistaken, these teams play every year. Since 2003, how many times do you think Miami has scored more than 16 points against Virginia Tech? So that's 7 games?
7 games. I'm going to go 3.
Only once have they scored more than 16. So schematically, and again, I know Miami's got coaching changes and all that stuff, but schematically, this Beamer does a great job in big games, and he seems to do a great job against Miami. So I'm going to make this my official best bet, video best bet of the week. I'm laying the points on the road. I'm not going to fall into the trap that Marco doesn't see. I'm laying the points on the road with Virginia Tech as my best bet.
One point that you didn't make. This is the 2nd week in a row that Virginia Tech's got to play on the road, and it is tough to win 2 big ball games.
You seem to be. It's time for a bet. I know that I'm 1-0 against you at this point in our bets.
You're 2-1 I'm 2-1 for the season.
I'm 1. You don't know how streaks work with handicappers. I'm 1-0. So what do you want, nickel or dime on this? Why don't you step up and do a dime?
Being that I have...
You've got a tie on. You should bet at least a dime.
They're never press when you're losing, and you're losing to me, so don't press, son. Okay, I have 500 of your children in my pocket that are still,
like I said, they'll be there in 3 years.
So we'll bet a nickel. I'll take Miami.
Official bet.
Official bet.
-2.5.
-2.5.
Now it's your turn to continue the conversation in the comment section with Marco and me. And next up, we're going to be talking Nebraska at Texas A&M.
Marco's best bet.